We trust banks with our savings, our salaries, pretty much our whole future. So how does an institution that seems as solid as a rock just crumble overnight? In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the two hidden risks at the heart of every single bank and see how one can set off a catastrophic chain reaction.
It's a question that pops up in the headlines way too often, right? A bank looks totally fine one day, and the next, you see these lines around the block and everyone's worried about a complete collapse. How on earth does it happen so fast? Well, the answer boils down to two concepts that are really easy to mix up but are, well, they're fatally intertwined. Okay, let's break this down. On one side, you've got liquidity. Just think of this as the cash a bank has in its wallet. It's the money that's available right now to pay you if you show up to withdraw your savings. Then on the other side, there's insolvency. This is about the bank's big picture net worth. If it sold everything it owned, all its loans, its buildings, would it have enough money to pay back everything it owes? And here's the real kicker. A bank can technically be solvent with a positive net worth, but still go under if its wallet is empty. That's the paradox we're about to untangle.
To really get this, we've got to look at the fundamental business model of a bank. And honestly, it's a huge, calculated gamble that they're making with our money every single day.
This simple chart really shows you the heart of the problem. Okay, so look under current liabilities. The bank owes 100 in deposits. That's your money, my money, and we can ask for it back anytime we want. Now, look over at current assets. The bank only has 50 in cash ready to go. The rest of its money, that 150, is tied up in long-term things like mortgages and business loans. You can't just turn those into cash in an afternoon. And that mismatch, right there, is where all the risk comes from.
And you see, this isn't some accident. It's the whole game. Borrow short, lend long. It's a real tightrope walk between needing cash now and making profits way down the line. The bank is basically betting that all of us won't show up and ask for our money back at the exact same time. It's a really profitable bet when it works, but it builds this incredible fragility right into the system.
So what happens when that bet goes wrong? What happens when that fragile balance gets pushed to the brink? What happens when a whole lot of us decide we want our money and we want it now?
Well, it starts as a trickle, but then it becomes a flood. As more and more people show up, the bank's cash reserves just evaporate. And to stop the bleeding, the bank has to do the one thing it never, ever wants to do: start a fire sale of its long-term assets. And this is the exact moment a simple cash flow problem starts to spiral into something much, much worse.
Because selling your most valuable assets when you're desperate, that's a recipe for disaster. It's not a normal sale. It's a panic move. You know, it's like if you had to sell your house by 5 o'clock today. You're not going to get what it's worth. You're just going to take whatever cash someone shoves in your hand.
And that, right there, is what we officially call liquidity risk. So the key thing to remember is that the risk isn't just about running out of cash. It's about the deep financial wounds a bank gives itself when it's forced to sell good assets for bad prices just to get that cash.
So why are these fire sales so destructive? Well, there are two big reasons. First, picture this. A bank is trying to sell off an old mortgage with a 3% interest rate, but now new mortgages are paying 5%. Who's going to buy that old low-rate loan? Nobody, unless the bank sells it at a huge discount. Or you get the second scenario, a market panic. If a bunch of banks are all trying to sell the same kinds of assets at the same time, they flood the market. It's basic supply and demand. The price for those assets crashes for everybody.
And this just creates this terrifying feedback loop. The very thing the banks are doing to try and survive, selling off their assets, actually makes the whole problem worse for everyone else. It's like they're all in a sinking boat, and their frantic attempts to bail out their own little corner are just pouring more water into the boat for everyone.
And this is where we reach the tipping point. What started as a simple, short-term cash crunch, a liquidity crisis, is about to become a permanent, fatal problem. We're about to watch a bank go from being just illiquid to totally insolvent.
So what exactly is insolvency? Well, it's the point of no return. Game over. It means the bank is officially broke. Its total debts are now bigger than the value of everything it owns. That protective cushion it was supposed to have,
it's gone, and the bank is in a complete freefall.
Okay, so let's go back to our example bank. Remember, it started with a capital buffer of 10 million euros. And this isn't just extra profit lying around, it's a special cushion specifically designed to absorb unexpected losses and keep the bank standing. But then that liquidity crisis hits, that fire sale happens, and the total losses from selling those assets at rock-bottom prices? A devastating 12 million euros. And there it is. The 12 million in losses completely obliterates that 10 million capital buffer, and then some. The shield is shattered. The liquidity crisis didn't just cause a temporary headache, it triggered the bank's complete and total destruction.
So what's the thread that ties all this together? What's the spark that lights this whole fire? It's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about human psychology. It's all about fear.
This quote really just nails it. The simple idea, the mere perspective that a bank might be in trouble is enough to create a panic. You don't wait for proof. The fear itself is the trigger. It becomes a mad dash for the exit.
And here you can see the whole nasty cycle laid out. It starts with just a little bit of fear. That fear explodes into panic, which causes that run on the bank. That run triggers a liquidity crisis, which forces the bank to sell its assets at a massive loss. And those losses ultimately create the one thing everyone was afraid of in the first place: true insolvency.
So the bottom line is this: the prophecy fulfills itself. The rumor of a bank's death becomes the actual cause of its death. A bank that was completely fine, completely solvent, can be pushed over the edge simply because enough people started to believe that it was possible.
Which leaves us with this fundamental razor's edge dilemma at the very core of banking. Do you chase those maximum short-term profits by taking on all that liquidity risk? Or do you play it safe, prioritize long-term survival, even if it means smaller returns? The choice a bank makes here, well, that decision can affect the stability of our entire financial world.